Working mom, she's on the go. How does she do it? We all wanna know. Laughs and good stories, lessons and fun. How does she do it all? So sit right down, you're in for a treat. A show full of heart that cannot be beat. Grab your coffee, stay for a while. How does she do it all? With Olivia, how wild.
Welcome to How Does She Do It All? The show where we shine a spotlight on fabulous single and solo moms and ask the age-old question, how does she do it all? So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and get ready for some real talk about motherhood and making it all work. And now, folks, let's welcome today's guest star, our friend Leslie. Leslie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
Well, my name is Leslie Gray Streeter. I am a journalist and an author and a amateur vegan cook and a person who makes way too many things out of chickpeas.
I love chickpeas.
Just what kind of happens when you're trying to eat mostly meatless. So you're just like, and here's this thing. It's like, what makes it, whatever. It's chickpeas. It's almost always chickpeas.
Always.
I am a single parent. I have an 11, almost 12-year-old son. And I've learned that 11 to 12 is a really interesting transition because suddenly he and his friends are talking to girls. And I'm like, what are we doing here? So
Yes.
It's interesting. We live in Baltimore and I'm fighting with my house currently because I just seems to be the year of craziness everywhere. But everywhere. But basically that's me. I think we're fun.
You are fun. You're one of my favorite people to talk to. You and your sister.
Thank you.
Me and my sister adore you guys. A couple of things. Have you made chocolate chip cookies out of chickpea flour?
No, but I've eaten them.
Okay.
And I'm mostly vegan, but I'm not vegan enough that I pretend that I like some things. Because sometimes you'll talk to vegans and they go, "Oh, and this is delicious." It's like, no, it's not.
I know. I used to make when I was paleo for many years, which chickpeas aren't really paleo, but I used to do it anyway. Is like a cookie dough, like a fake cookie dough out of chickpea flour. Again, it wasn't that good, but it fulfilled the need at the time. And I also have a almost 12-year-old boy, and the shift overnight and from like little kid to like talking about all sorts of things all the time is interesting.
I'm just looking at him like, who are you?
Yeah.
I love that he still talks to me about these things.
Yes.
But I'm like, and that's good. And that's something that I hope continues. It's just the stuff that he talks about. I'm like, what? But yeah, it's an interesting ride.
It is. Okay. So tell us, how did you become a single parent, Leslie?
Not in a fun way. I am widowed. My husband died almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
It'll be 10 years in July. And our son was very little. He was not yet legally ours. The short version is that he is the birth child of a relative. We were identified as people who were going to hopefully raise and adopt him when he was about 2 days old, but it took us 6 months to get him from Florida to Maryland, from Maryland to Florida. That's where we were at the time. And so we were going towards that goal. And then when Scott died, I did it myself. My mother moved in as my co-parent, and I finished the adoption on my own, which is something I never thought I would do. Because, I always wanted to be a parent, but I wanted to be a parent with somebody. So I had not ever considered, adopting on my own. I would have friends who would go, "Oh, you should just adopt a baby." It's like, why would I want to do that? I want a partner. No.
Yeah.
So it didn't work out the way I thought it was going to. But I mean, I was only partnered for about 2 years of being a parent. So it's all I know now. I don't have anything to compare it to. I mean, my mom was, like I said, was with us until she moved out and got married. Yay, her 2.5 years ago in 2022. So she was with us the first 2 years when we moved back to Baltimore. And so it's just been us. And it's that was an interesting transition because I went from like good cop, bad cop to being just like cop, and I literally had to stop myself from calling my mother and going, "Talk to him." It's like, no, she didn't live here anymore. She like went and got out. So This is my thing. So that's been with therapy, that has been a really specific goal to just like be where the buck stops. I am now very comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I really always was. It's just not that having a partner is a crutch, but you just have literally a partner. You have someone to help you hold up the other side of the couch, so to speak. And
Yeah. Yeah.
pivot.
Yeah, exactly.
Friends
Good,
reference.
good
Yes.
reference.
There you go.
So true. It is so true. I was partnered. But let's see, my ex and I split up, which is obviously different when my kids were
Yeah.
3 and 5. So, they were young, and so I pretty much have had to raise boys by myself, completely by myself.
Ooh.
So what is it like, now you moved back to Maryland and you live kind of near your sister, who you guys I know are very close. And I love that
We
you're
are.
raising your sons kind of like what do you call them, like cousin siblings in a way?
Cousin brothers, as
Cousin
they
brothers.
call each other, which is
Yeah,
funny.
I love it. I love that.
Brother cousins, yeah.
I
they're
love
cute.
that. So what is it like, you have a busy job. You're kind of, you do a million things. You have a beautiful memoir called Black Widow, which is one of my favorite books, which we'll link in the show notes.
Oh my God.
And you have another book coming out, which I want to talk about too.
Okay.
So you do a lot of things. So what is it like? I have 2 boys, but I know just having 2 kids is like having 20 kids. So 1 kid is like having 10 kids. So
Yes.
what is a day-to-day life like for Leslie and your son?
Oh boy. All right. So I typically on a weekday, I usually wake up because hello menopause. My body usually wakes up between 4:30 and 5. Although I have been making myself not get out of bed the minute I get up. Just that's part of the husa, as they say.
Love
So
that.
I usually am out of bed by 5. Also because, as a single parent, that's the only time that you can be counted on not to have to deal with anybody else's stuff. Because no one, except for the cat who stalks me, and she takes her, she's huge. She's like 21 pounds, and she comes down the steps, and she's like,
honestly, I'd stalk you too, Leslie. So, I get it.
she's just like, food, hello. It's like she can tell. She's like I don't know what's going on, clairvoyant. She can tell when I'm awake. She's like Santa Claus, but a cat. So I get up, I go downstairs, I do my bathroom stuff. Y'all didn't need to know that. But anyway, once again, as a parent, sometimes you have to schedule this shit. Like,
well, yes. And I think that it was important that you said that because I've been on a mission to efficiency my life, as that wasn't English, but to make my life more as efficient as possible. And it is things like that, the time blocking of like, then I'm going to take my Prozac, and then I'm going to brush my teeth, and then I'm going to do this. You have to do that. So I appreciate you saying that.
I do. And then I come downstairs and I take my vitamins and my meds, and then I start coffee. I make his lunch. If it has a cheese stick in it, I make sure that this is 2 things: to put it in the fridge so it's cold as long as possible, but that I don't forget it. And then he doesn't have lunch because sometimes I forget to take it out of the fridge. So these are things. I say things to him like, remind me to take your lunch out of the fridge. He just looks at me like, what? So I sit downstairs. I'm part of a online trivia league. And right now it's an off, like they take like a month or so break. So if I have that, I will come downstairs, have my coffee, do my trivia, check my email, make sure no one's looking for me. You know how that is too. And when they're not, I watch things I can't watch around my kid. Like this morning, I watched last night's episode of White Lotus.
Yes.
Because I can't watch it around my kid. Or sometimes I will do my workout. I have this Apple Fitness Plus thing on my phone that I do. And it's like a half an hour. So I did 10 minutes before I came to talk to you, and I'm going to do the other 20 when I get off.
Love it. Love it.
Then I give him the 15-minute warning at 6:30. I say at 6:45, you have to get up, and whatever. He has not lately gone back to bed. Sometimes he will go back to bed because I won't hear any movement upstairs.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And then at 6:45, I wake him up, and he eventually trundles to the bathroom. I make sure he has taken a shower because boys, allergic to water. What are we doing?
Oh yeah.
So I make breakfast. We hang out. We talk. And this is something new for me. I used to not be a television in the morning person with him, but now I find it's bonding. As long as he's done what he was supposed to do, as long as he, he did his homework the night before, everything's packed, and we watch stupid crap together like the Rob Lowe game show, The Floor.
Yes.
It's so dumb, but I love it. And every once in a while when I start cooking and his friends are out, they're like, Brooks's mom is really smart. She should go on that show. And I feel very good about myself.
Yeah.
He goes to school and then I start work. I usually start working, meaning, because I think the state where we are in with work is that we pretend that everything that we do for work is not work, but it is. If you're answering a work email,
Yes.
if you're checking your Slack messages, if you're taking notes to remind yourself to do something tomorrow when you're working, you're still working.
Yes.
And so I'm trying very hard to either not do those things outside of what I consider work hours, although my work could be forever, but to say, okay, if I'm doing this, this is work. So I can count this in my brain as work.
Yeah.
I had, and I'll be very honest, I had what I think might have been a panic attack last week because I just was doing too much. I made a mistake on a story, and it wasn't a bad mistake, but it was consistent through the story. And I'm like, and I fixed it, and the people were okay with it. And my editor was like, yeah, and then she looked at me and she said, are you okay? Are you doing too much? And supports that you have as a parent, you think it's the people who babysit them or the people who drive them to practice, but it's people like a boss who recognizes that you're stressed and says, are you okay? That's a support too.
Yeah.
And people talk about the village, right? Like, then I think of the village, like I said, as people who are directly involved in your relationship with your kid or the care and feeding or transporting or teaching or coaching of your kid. But really anybody who wants to make sure that your life is easier so you can, or at least ordered in a way that you can do what you need to do for you and your kid, that's part of your village as well.
Yes, I love that so much. It's so true. It's so true. Okay, so you do your work day, and then what time does he come home from school?
He comes home around 2:50. He gets out at 2:25 and he walks home. So this morning he got out, he goes, it's raining. I'm like, yeah, it is. Walk anyway. Because that's
not
what
a long day.
It's not that's what you're like woods. That's your, that's what your hood is stuff. And that's the other thing. I had a day off, quote unquote, on Friday, but your day off as a parent really isn't a day off because you still got to get up when they get up. And then you have those 8 or 9 hours in between, and then they come home. So I was like, in the beginning of the day, I said, listen, this is my day off. So of course I have to feed you, that kind of thing. But what I'm not going to do is vacate my living room when your friends are here. I'm not changing the station. I'm not having anyone. He whined about having a friend stay over. I was like, day off, no responsibility for anybody. So if I could send you someplace else today, I would. But I can't. So what part of this day is for me? This entire day is for me.
Yep.
And you have to do that. I mean, it's easier the older he gets. Like, I could even we're going to experiment later this week. I have dinner plans with friends. The friend who was supposed to watch him cannot do it. So it's 5:30. He can hang out by himself. It'll still be light by the time I get home at 7. So he can do that. He has a phone. I know how to track it. And as long as he just stays at home or stays outside, he'll be fine. And so he comes home. I usually give him about 45 minutes to just chill before he starts his homework. Homework sometimes is a fight because they don't want to do it. And I love I know you have had this conversation as a parent. You have to do fill in the blank, but I don't want to. It's like, that's what life's about, honey. It's like, I wish you didn't have to do things that you don't want to do, but you would do nothing.
Yeah. Well, the best is when I'm like, I will literally tell you the answers. You just need to write them in your own words. And they're like, I don't even want to write. And I'm like, I will tell you the answers.
Just my God. Just do something.
Right. Something. Write a paragraph about how you don't want to do your homework. I'll take that.
Something. It's just,
but it's a lot. It's a lot. And I want to just point out, as a single parent, homework is a lot because you're the only one that has the answers. You're the only one that gets them to do it. And I'll be honest, there are some nights we don't get it done. And I almost feel like telling the teachers and being like, you know what? I was working. I had a thing. I had a migraine. I'm the only parent. I don't know what to tell you. He's only 11. Sorry.
I know. There's too much homework. There's too much homework. And I have a friend who's a very good friend who's also very close to my son who is an educator for 30-something years. And she said that Yeah, while they are given homework, they should do it. But really, she goes, if you worked all day long and you came home and then your boss said, here's an extra
Yeah.
assignment to do that you have to do to prove that you were working,
Yep.
you would hate it. You would
Yep.
say, this is extra work. Where's my hour? I'm getting paid. And kids don't get paid.
No.
So just the idea that you can never really
Right.
turn off
Yep.
is really hard. But that's our culture right now. We don't turn off, you know?
Yeah, I don't care about homework. I'm like, do it, don't do it. You're going to be the one that gets in trouble. You know, it's like life is short. So, yeah,
It is
I'm
hard.
not going to let
It
it,
is
I'm
hard.
not going to let it become a thing between me and my kid. I don't have the time, right? It's like going back to what you were saying about good cop, bad cop, I have to be the bad cop in so
You
many
have to.
things, right? So it's like, I'm not going to let homework be the issue between us. So I don't
That's
know.
a
Maybe
really good
that's,
choice. No, because you have to make that choice though. Because I was talking to the same friend. She's my friend Melanie. Hi, Melanie. We talk all the
hi, Melanie. Yeah.
time. She's a great, and we're talking about dating, and I don't currently. I was, and then I wasn't, and then I was
Mhm.
again. I was like, ugh, nobody cares.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she said, don't take this the wrong way. I said, I probably will, but shoot. She said, what would having a serious relationship add to your life? And I went, very little.
Yeah.
And I went, and there's your answer. Because I don't have to date because I have a good life and a good job and a good kid, lots of friends, trying to do what I can to stop the fall of democracy.
Yep.
You know, I don't have, there's nothing, when you're younger and everyone says get paired up and you want to have kids and you want to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
There are some situations, although some people have kids without ever being married or having a partner even, they figure it out themselves. But like I said, I wouldn't want to, I didn't want to, and now I have anyway. But
Mhm.
the traditional reasons that you get married, I don't need anymore. I don't need to start my life out with someone because I did that already. I don't need validation that I'm lovable or wonderful or sexy or
Mhm.
whatever because I've had that. I
Yep.
don't need anyone to help me raise my kid because at this point I wouldn't want anybody else's input because I don't know you. What are you talking to my kid? I don't need someplace to live. I've got one. And I don't want anybody in my house, really.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah. I think there's a lot more of us than we talk about. But yes, I understand. I understand.
You know, it would be nice to have someone to do stuff with. Like my last relationship was basically someone I did stuff with, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And it was nice to know I had someone to text and he also was a parent and we would call and
Yeah.
talk about our kids and have lunch and you know, he would like, you know, he always gave really good alcohol for Christmas gifts and things. So that was really nice. Enjoyed that.
Yeah, you can get
But
that from anybody.
you can. And when it ended, it wasn't really going anywhere. And it was
Yeah.
like, and he was at a place he wasn't able to do it. I was like, and I could kind of feel it happening. I was like, great. And then I was like, oh, it's a bummer. And then I went, okay. And then
Yeah.
I started dating someone else and that was not a thing.
Mm.
And then and I went on one date with someone right before the election. And I thought it went well. I guess it didn't. But he texted me the day after the election, said, what the hell happened? I was like, dude, I don't know. And that's the last time it's like, that's how the
I
world felt.
understand very much. I understand. Yeah, I hear you on all of those points. Okay, so what is like nighttime? Do you have time by yourself at night?
I try to. He's supposed, and this is the other thing with the age that they are, is
Yeah.
the nighttime thing changes. Because either they fall asleep immediately or they're up all night.
Yes.
It's one extreme or the other. Like he'll come home exhausted, but you can't let him sleep too long because then he'll never go to bed.
Yeah.
So, but it's the hormones and stuff. It's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I love weekends because he usually will not get up until
Yep.
9 or something. I've been up for hours, you know, did my face, did a thing,
Yep.
made something delicious with chickpeas in the kitchen, whatever. So, and
Obviously.
eat, you know, obviously. So what I try to do is if he starts homework at 3:30, if he finishes it, his little friends are always knocking on the door.
I love that.
And I'm always like, the faster you get finished, the faster you can go outside. And so I usually have some time in the evening because he's either outside or if they're in my house, they're crowded around the Xbox in the
Yep.
corner and they're not bothering me.
Yep.
So it's around 6 where I send everybody home, 6:30 tops, because then dinner. I like to have him headed to bed by 8.
Yep.
That doesn't always matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't always, it matters. Doesn't always happen.
Yes.
And
yeah.
then I like to have lights out. And this is one of the biggest things I've learned as a single parent. I can't make him go to sleep.
Mhm.
I can once, because we're on different floors, I will
Mhm.
say, hey, I hear you on your phone or whatever, and the phone thing like cuts off. He can't like
Mhm.
do
Okay.
things on the phone past a certain time. Thank you, Apple.
Yeah.
But if he's not asleep, that's on him. And
Yeah.
the first, it was freeing something in me, Olivia, to say, if you have a trouble getting up tomorrow and you are tired and you don't want to walk to
Mhm.
school, I'm not driving you to school because you were too stubborn to go to sleep because you did not get up on time. And at one point last week, he goes, well, you have to drive. It's like, I don't have to do nothing. That's on
Yeah.
you because this is part of the responsibility.
Yeah.
And you're, like I said, you don't want to see them fail. You don't want to
No.
set them up for bad income, but we get ourselves up. And yes, we are adult grown ladies, right? But
But that's how you
it is
teach
what it
them to
is.
become adults. I mean, that's how, like, you don't take the garbage out in your room, the garbage is gonna overflow. You don't put your laundry in the hamper, no one's gonna help you with your laundry.
Oh,
It's like
what is it with boys and hampers? We literally have, there's a hamper in his room.
yeah, we
There's
have
a hamper
100.
in the bathroom.
Yeah.
There's a hamper in my room. And sometimes he still like hangs out with me in my room.
Yeah.
There's hampers everywhere. Why is clothing on the floor in front of the hamper? I'm like,
Yeah.
so close.
Garbage in
It's
front of the garbage can.
in
Yeah.
front of the garbage can.
Yeah.
And they just
Yeah.
look at you with those big sad eyes like, oh.
Uh-huh. No, 100%. I mean, yesterday my younger son was outside playing baseball. He was throwing a ball at the pitchback that we have in the backyard, and the ball hit him in the face. He was fine. And he looks at me, who was sitting across the yard on a chair, and goes, "That was your fault." I said, "What? How? You threw the ball at the pitchback and it hit you. I had nothing. I was literally sitting here playing on my phone." So, boys. Okay, so you have a busy life. You have a busy day. So in all of
Very
that
busy day.
chaos, what do you do for yourself?
The working out part. I did something to my knee a month or so ago, so I have not started running yet again this year, but it's getting better. Went to my doctor, and she's like, "It looks like you're doing a good job." So I have not yet done a lot of this year because it's been cold walking outside. I walk in my living room.
Oh, I did that
Um,
too.
it's great. I like to walk to errands if I can. Like, yesterday we went to our friend's house. My goddaughter was in town, and so we walked. Like, I don't move my car because I live in the city and I don't
Right.
want to lose my parking space. I will walk to pick up sushi. I'll walk to the liquor store. Yes. I will try to do those things, and if I'm meeting someone for lunch and I can walk there, I will. So that is really good for me.
Yeah.
I find sometimes just watching TV and not trying to multitask, because sometimes I have to watch a television show twice because I realize I didn't actually see it. This morning we
Mhm.
were watching Tracker, a ridiculous but well done CBS show with Justin Hartley from
Yep.
This Is Us. And my son goes, "We saw this already. We watched it yesterday." I said, "No, honey, you must have watched it because I fell asleep." Obviously, I said, "I have no memory of this at all."
Yeah.
And he's looking at me. He goes, "But he goes, I'll prove it to you. That he's going to say blah blah blah." I go, "I keep telling you, you saw it,
Right.
but I didn't."
Yeah.
For myself, like podcasts, I really like
Yeah.
as sure this is going to be one of my favorites as well. I like to, and this is just the type A in me because everything has to be about efficiency at some point, even though I'm a mess. I like to, if I'm scrolling on all of my watching thing apps, I like to start at Peacock and then go across the thing to Justify. I go, if I hit 3 days and I don't want to watch anything on this particular channel, maybe I should get rid of it.
Mm,
You
I like
know,
that. I like that.
it just, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just because I am I'm type A and messy, but oh, I'll tell you what I just did for myself.
Yeah.
Hired a house cleaner.
Amazing. I love that for you.
Just because you tell yourself as a single mother, simultaneously, you can do it all, and then you can't do it all. So you're overwhelmed trying to balance those things.
Mhm.
So I am a clutter bug, and this year I have tried to buy things to make myself. I mean, you can't make yourself be organized, but I
Yeah.
bought like on Facebook Marketplace a one of those IKEA like shoe racks with a hat
Mhm.
with a coat rack.
Yep.
Because just the act of knowing where your shoes and your coat is,
Yep.
it's right there. It's when you come in the house, you can't miss it. And the first day, Brooks walked past and I go, nope, 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 nope. And now it's funny, he makes a game out of it, trying to like do 3-pointers with his hood.
Yeah.
It's funny, but I did that. I bought like this little rolly cart that I could take things off of my counter.
Yep.
Off my kitchen counter. And like, so now the food processor lives here. Now the tea caddy lives here. And so I was looking at my house, and it basically was clean-ish, with air quotes, but there were stains on I have white cabinets, on the cabinets that I just couldn't get out.
Yeah.
And I thought, I need to do this. I'm not good at it, and I don't want to. So this wonderful lady comes over. She works with a friend of mine, and it was Saturday morning. She's really cool. I asked her, like, tell me where to move the kids around, because they were little boys in my room, and he was in my house, and they were going to a sleepover at some point. I say they because there's always someone in my house who doesn't live here.
I love that. Yeah.
And she was great. And she didn't do Brooks's room because he's got to muck that out before I let anybody in there. And she didn't do my room because I have a lot of boxes and things in here I need to get straight before I let anyone in here. But she did the rest of the house. It took her 6.5 hours, 6 hours and some change, and it was $325. And I thought, for $325, and that's just the baseline, right?
Yeah.
So when she comes back in 2 weeks, the house won't be as dirty.
Yep.
And so she won't be here as long.
Yeah.
And I thought, you could spend $325 on, I'm pretty sure there's weeks I've spent that on takeout.
100%. Yeah.
And I go, or you could give it to this lady, as someone pointed out on Threads, who's a small business owner.
Yep. I love paying people for that kind of stuff because it helps them. That's their job.
That's their job. And just outsourcing things. Like, once again, I mean, the Sarah Jessica Parker movie, I Don't Know How She Does It All.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is so, because she both knows that she's overworked, but then when she has less work, she doesn't know what to do with herself.
Yeah.
Because we've been made to believe that you can never win as a mother, period.
Yep.
Particularly as a single parent. You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. If you do too much, why are you doing so much? You should slow down. If you don't do enough. You're neglecting your kid. And all these things in our brains are telling us we're wrong just for existing. So I think the best thing to do is just do it how you do it. Do it. Like, if you cannot ask yourself what you do for yourself, like, and then writing that, sending, I would say, I don't write checks, sending that Zelle or the Venmo or whatever it was, best decision I've made.
I love that. I love that so much. So that is a great trick if anybody can pay for a house cleaner, and even once in a long time, like once in a while, right? It's just great.
Once in a while, yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the other kind of like strategies that you use with Brooks to make your life a little easier?
Because of his age, making sure that he knows how to do stuff. Like, he's supposed to take the trash out. I usually wind up doing it because, once again, that's that control freak thing. I know how I like it done, but at least he has to set his garbage out, right? He has to like physically hand me it. Yep. He has to just make sure everything is in it. Like, I'm not going to go around his nasty room hunting for stuff. It's like, if it's not in there, then it doesn't get thrown out. Things like, they do that thing where you're sitting on your couch, and the minute they're watching you to see if you're going to get up so you can go get them something. Yeah. And I will lately sit back down and go, nope.
Yeah,
and
we're working on that.
It's on a high shelf. I'm like, and there's a step stool and a chair. Go get it. I'm afraid of mice. Me too. We have mice. It's Baltimore City. I'm like, you will figure it out. He literally last week got mad at me because he could not get me to get up. And this is a trick. As my therapist said the first time I talked to her, and he was 7 then, now he's almost 12. She goes, why are we arguing with 7-year-olds? Because then they think that there's argument to be had, and you're in charge. I was like, I'm in charge. Remember, you're in charge.
Yep.
When I say things like, how was your day? Being prepared to listen, that's that. I think that should be any parent's thing. But also understanding that I am the only one here. He talks to my best friend. He talks to my sister. Sometimes he talks to my mom. But immediately when things happen, like we were walking yesterday to my friend's house, and he confided something in me. He didn't. His friend had asked him a question about something, and he didn't tell me what, but he was just talking about how hard it is to be in friend groups and stuff, and
Yeah.
that's so real. And I hate that because, it's middle school, it's coming, it's starting.
Mm-hmm.
The whole, like, you're my friend, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
like listening, having, you can't see it, but here, the best purchase I ever made was a door. I live on the third floor, and it was basically like a glorified loft, that it was really pretty and open, but there was no door. And I had like curtains downstairs, and someone was always coming up the curtains, whatever. So with part of my money from the book I sold last year, I got a door built and a wall. And at first he hated it. And that's one thing as a single parent, because the access to you, they want access to you as much as they want. Sometimes they don't want anything to do with you. When they want access to you, they have to have it. And you feel guilty as a parent, as a single parent, because there's nobody else to do it. But I had to, and he made me so mad once. He was like jiggling the door handle. And I kicked the door, like, get away from my door. And I literally kicked a hole in the little cheap door. And so I walked to the Ace Harbor in my neighborhood, and I made him help me spackle it back.
Good. I love that. Yeah.
Don't kick things. It's better to kick a door than to hurt a person. But
it's hard. It's so hard, and you're by yourself, and you are dealing with the relation. It's such a powerful relationship you have, especially with a son. I mean, I think,
yes,
but yet you're trying to help him become an adult to go into the world, and you're trying to heal and fix and soothe yourself, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting. But I love that you walk so much. I love that you have your little time in the morning.
I do.
It's important. I totally get that. Yeah, you have to.
I have sent him back to bed.
Yeah.
There'll be like some mornings. There's like a couple weeks ago, he just woke up at 5, and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
He goes, what? I go, this is my time. I said, if you're going to sit here, don't ask. I'm not making you breakfast until the regular time.
Yep.
If you want to go back to sleep, and he did. He went back to sleep on the couch. I was like, but I'm not. This is mommy's time.
Yeah.
And boundaries. That's the big thing.
Yes, and that's okay. You are a human who is worthy of having your own time, and that's something that is so important to teach to young men, especially, that women are allowed to have their own time and sit on the couch and watch TV and not be bothered by mommy. So I love that. Tell us about your book that's coming out soon, I think, right?
My book, it comes out on June 1st. It is called Family and Other Calamities. It's about a journalist who decades ago had a story stolen from her by a friend. And it was a whole big mess. And she moves to LA, gets married. Her husband dies. She comes back to Baltimore with the ashes and finds out that the friend who stole the story from her is making a movie about that, getting a movie made about that story, and she's the villain.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yes. And the family part is that her sister had been like a whistleblower in this thing, and she's never really forgiven her for stuff that went down. And it's just her mother's like kind of a diva. There is an actual R&B diva involved in it. It was really kooky and fun. And my editor was like, can you make it a little less kooky? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. Not really. But yeah, it's really fun and it's different. I mean, there are some similarities to me, but then it goes, people like, did this ever happen? It's like, no, none of that happened to me. So
I love it. I cannot wait to read it. We'll put the link to pre-order and order in the show notes.
Thank you.
Before we let you go, Leslie, if somebody is listening to this and they are a single mom or considering becoming a single mom, however they are going to do it, what would be some words of wisdom you could leave them with?
The words of wisdom that I have are that no one else's experience is going to be like yours. I know people who've written these stories and it's like, oh, if she can do it, I can do it. Maybe not. Maybe it's not because so many, like you look at celebrities, they have help. They can adopt babies or have babies through surrogates or whatever they do. Mindy Kaling has help, right? We don't know anything about the father of her children, whatever, but she's Mindy Kaling. So there is a lot relatable about her. But trust me, your experience as a single parent, unless you are rich, is not going to be like hers. And so a lot of depends on do you have, as I mentioned, that village? Do you have, before you, because sometimes I didn't plan to be a single parent. You didn't plan to be a single parent. Something that just happens. And if it just happens, don't feel alone if you're not alone. Talk to other single mothers about what they do. It's like menopause, where we never really talk about it. So everyone I know who's gone through menopause thinks they're crazy because the symptoms don't make any sense. It's because no one said this is what it's like. Talk to your friends who are single parents, whether you're a single parent by choice or not. Talk to them about their decisions. Talk to them about what makes them tired. Talk to them about what makes them happy. Talk to them about like stuff they buy that makes their lives easier, that they can do stuff with. Talk to people about, things that didn't work, things that they tried. And it's okay to let things go too that don't work for you. Because there are people who will swear by stuff and you go, it did not work for me. And it's okay because there's other people it didn't work for either. They're just too afraid to say so. Whether it's a diet or a parenting technique. When you have, I know we're wrapping this up, but when you become a parent, I cannot think, besides weddings and parenthood are the times where people feel like they can give you unsolicited advice, just judging. I mean, literally, we were adopting the child. They're like, well, are you going to use pacifiers? I'm like, well, he had one. I'm not going to take it from him. He's 6 months, lived with someone else. Are you going to stay home? Why? I just like these things that are just like, what about screen time? What about, like, I write about entertainment. There's going to be screens. I mean, we're not going to like babysit him with the thing, but everyone has all of this advice they want to give you as a parent. And I think that's my advice. Be specific about the advice that you asked for and the advice that you accept. Take it with a grain of salt. And once again, understand that everybody's life is different from yours. Your life is different than anybody else's. Your parenting will be different than anyone else's. My sister, is my twin, and she is not a single parent. So her experience parenting is different than mine. And we have a lot in common, but we don't do things the same. I think even if Scott were still alive, we still wouldn't do things the same. I think I'd have a lot different approach. But yeah, just be gentle on yourself. You have all the work. Take some of the joy.
I love that. And I'm just going to push back on you for a second because I think that there's a third thing that people like to have opinions on, which is grief. And you write about that beautifully in Black Widow. So just another plug to read Black Widow because you have some great examples of people saying wild things to you in that book. So
people is crazy. And we are as of, and I unfortunately think we're headed to a very major grief portion. We are there in our country. Just grieving what we were in November and what we are now, or what we thought we were in November anyway. Yeah. But yeah, people have some crazy ass things to say about grief and just spouting off stuff. I mean, I have a friend who was so upset when Scott died. Her dad died and her dog died, and she didn't want to mention the dog because she didn't want me to think that she was belittling my grief. And I said, that dog was everything to you. You know? So I'm not going to be a person who tells you, don't tell Leslie about your dog. It's like, you loved that dog and your dad. Your two things that moored you as a person died. Of course please, just don't feel bad about it.
Maybe we all just need to have a little more grace with each other, right? A little more compassion and understanding. Yeah.
Bingo.
Well, Leslie, you know that we love you. We adore you. We're so excited about your work and your book and your articles. And, you're somebody that I look up to for so many reasons. So I'm just honored that you came on this inaugural season of the show. And I know that your DMs are always open. So if anybody's listening to this and they are newly single mom, widowed mom, please reach out to Leslie. She is the big sister that we all wish we had. So
please and you can also email me at leslie@lesliegracestreeter.com because Blue Sky has DMs. I'm no longer on Twitter or whatever that thing is. And you can't on Threads, but my Instagram DMs are always open.
Yes, Instagram. Go find her. Go give her a follow. We'll put the links in the show notes. My dear, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This was good.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of How Does She Do It All? If you loved this conversation, be sure to check out freshstartsregistry.com to learn more. Our theme music is provided by Matthew Searing with additional vocals by Jackie, Cheryl, and Jackson Searing. And remember, you are doing an amazing job. keep showing up, keep embracing the journey, and we'll see you next time.